What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916 getting down fresh out. And, we bring you guys exclusive. And we got a special guest today. We got Big Stay from Behind the Walls um, doing an interview. And this is a first for us. So we about to get into it. Big Stay, um, tell the people a little bit about, your current situation, man.
Okay, my name is Big Stay, the Prisoner's Voice. I come from a single parent household. Growing up, at the age of 7, my father went to prison for manslaughter. So, like any other kid, I grew up, running around the neighborhood, uh, stealing from stores. Then I started stealing bikes. Then I started doing burglaries, grand theft autos. At the age of 14, unfortunately, I was incarcerated and locked up for first degree murder and a gun enhancement. And at the age of 16, I was given 50 years to life and sentenced to the adult state prison.
You're breaking up a little bit. Okay, there you go. So where are you currently being housed at?
Right now, I'm currently housed at a Citadel State Prison, level 4, maximum security.
And are you working on any appeals, or do you have anything in the court, or what's the status right now with your case?
Oh, right now, yes, I'm in the courts fighting a resentencing. People versus Heard 1170D, which is made for juveniles that got the functional equivalent to life without parole. So I've been doing this for about 7 months. At this moment, right now, I'm just waiting on the judge to come down with a ruling, and if they grant the resentencing, I'll be released.
And how long you been down so far?
This is my 17th year, so I've been down about 17 years and about 3 months.
Yeah, man, it's it's major out here, man, with a lot of these young men and lack of father figure. And I can say that for me, the same thing. Not having a strong male role model, it makes a big difference, man. And I went to juvenile hall, I went to CYA, and then went to the feds, and you know, it's a cycle. And I look at there's a lot of things out there that endorse young black men to go to prison, and it's almost like it's like by design, man. When I look back now, in retrospect, I mean, for yourself, can you see now, like whether it be, um, whether it be social media or whether it be just by how things are set up in certain environments, that it's almost like they want to see young black men do time in prison, or would you say that is it lack of opportunity, lack of father figure? What do you think it is?
Well, see, I would say it's a variable. It's a little bit of everything. See, it's a good thing that you mentioned that because on my book, the cover is I have a baby in a crib, but the crib is sitting outside the penitentiary, and the baby is looking up at the gun tower. So what my cover symbolizes on my book is from the cradle to the prison. That prison pipeline. So I know, growing up, when you come from nothing, you look forward to nothing. And then not only that, when you take the male role model out the household, well, that leaves this young black male towards the streets, towards his peers, and look towards his peers and to be accepted by his peers. So, when you grow up with nothing, you remove the male role model out the household, and all you got in this environment is negative role models. This kid is gonna want to emulate what he do. When he see his big homie out there, he got the nice car, some nice rims, and he got it in a legal way. Well, that's the path that the youth is gonna strive for. If they ain't got nobody to say, "Hey, man, this is not right," you don't want to head down this path because this path leads to death and destruction. And that as a kid, you can be sentenced to life in prison if you don't got nobody telling these kids the real. Then all they gonna want to do is chase after what they see. And like I said, when they see people with these big chains on, they hear these rap songs, they hear people glorifying the lifestyle. That's what they trying to chase and obtain. So I believe it's a variable. It's the environment. It's taking the male role model out of the household. But not only that, I remember I was reading a article by Oprah. They said, "Man, where are all the good men at?" And she said, "Unfortunately, all the good men are in prison. All the black men that are good, they are in prison." But see, it's by design. The system is set up to incarcerate those of minorities and those of colors. That's just how the system works. Even if you look now at what we got going on, they're passing things in 2024 called the Racial Justice Act, basically saying that if you can statistically find a white person that has the same crime as you, but doesn't get as much time as you got, that basically they will retry your case. So it's 2024. Why are we still passing laws like the Racial Justice Act? It's like they say, mass incarceration is the new slavery.
You know, one of the things that I always advocate is an education, and not just any education, but an education on life, but also job skills. And I feel that's one of the biggest things that's lacking in the black communities, and as far as just resources, because if you're educated, the more educated you are, like you got in there, you started reading. For myself, I did a lot of law work in prison, and once I started reading the laws, and I also appealed my case and tried to get time off, filed motions. I used to help people with legal work. You look at life differently when you're educated. Like, man, I wouldn't have been doing this stuff on the street had I been more in the books when I was free. So I look at, like, as you open books, you open life's opportunities. And I'm always telling guys, like, they're like you said, you worry about the chain, you're playing video games, you're looking at porn all day. I mean, if you take the time right now, we're at a time in life, man, where literally you can run a business off your phone and nobody has to know what your race is. And so for a young man, if you want to create a business, or even take the time to learn a trade. You got guys who I know, guys who are welders, who have welding shops, muffler shops, or plumbers, and they're making high six figures. So we've kind of been brainwashed into thinking our options are hip hop and sports, which is less than 1%. When you think about it, if you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be, like I said, an architect or a home builder, your chances for that is 100% if you study. So we have to give young men better direction. And for myself, man, my channel, I fight an uphill battle because I promote more responsibility and accountability, so that we got to get over this victim mentality. And a lot of guys, they want us to feel like we're helpless. And as long as we have that mentality, it's a control factor. It's like Lyndon B. Johnson when he started the whole welfare thing. Dude, that incentivized basically no man in the house, destruction of the family, basically wait for a handout. It totally changed our mentality. Before Lyndon B. Johnson and the civil rights movement, black families were ahead of white families when it came to economics. People don't know that. Back in the 50s and 40s, we were ahead of, our households were doing better than white families. We went backwards, man. And yeah, you got a couple billionaires in sports and entertainment, but what are they really doing, man? Look, like you said, you're up in there. What are these people doing? They're not doing
Exactly.
anything, man. They got all this money, and I don't say they owe us anything, but they're not calling it. They're not calling out the bullshit.
Nah, nah, it's
And
not.
it's sad, bro. It's sad.
It's not that they owe us money, but at the same time, as a people, we should be united. We should be becoming one. And when a person make it to a certain area or a certain status in our society and got a certain platform, and they understand and they conscious of what's going on, they should be helping elevate the people. You know, that's just like Malcolm X. When Malcolm X started learning and he went to prison and he used that cell as a university, he didn't keep the knowledge to himself. He brought it to the people. He raised the people conscious and mind. So it's like, nah, they don't owe us anything. And yes, a lot of times we don't want to pull ourselves up from our own bootstraps and put it to work and actually get a job and actually, build that work ethic. And a lot of people, yeah, they like to rely on the government, but at the same time, when people see that our people are struggling and they didn't reach a certain status in life, I feel like it's their obligation to their people to raise awareness of what's going on, to raise awareness of the barriers that we faced against. And like the rappers, these rappers make millions of dollars, and then when they get these millions of dollars, instead of turning around and promoting the right message, they still glorifying the wrong thing. So it's like, at what point are you using your position and being responsible using that position?
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. And um, you know, when you look at different cultures and how they stick together, and I tell people this all the time. I got into it with another brother. We were talking, and he was saying something about racism and basically white privilege. And I said, okay, look, man, I've been trying to start all these businesses, and when I ask you or when I ask anybody else, all you guys know you guys want to help. Now, if I go ask this Asian dude and I go ask this other guy who's Armenian or Russian and he wants to put in, what am I supposed to do? You guys don't want to build nothing, but you want to complain because you can't work together. See, that's the major problem with a lot of black culture is that they can't work together. You see it in there, bro, in the pen. I mean, it's divided by cities, neighborhoods, different parts of the country. But you look at like, some of these other people, they get together, man, and there's strength in numbers. Just like information and resources. If we utilize the buying power of the black community, we could control any market. Every culture wants to be black, but they don't want to be black. So that's
Exactly.
one of the major hurdles. Like when you drive through LA, you go one area, you see all the Jewish people. What are they doing? They shop in all Jewish stores. You won't see no black stores, no Asian stores in the Jewish community. Now you go to the Armenians, you will not see anybody but Armenian. You go to the black community, you see Korean, you're gonna see Indian, you're gonna see white. You don't see nobody black owning anything. And if you do, they don't even want to buy from you, man, because they're like, oh man, you can't hook me up. But you're buying full price from the white dude. You're paying full price from the Asian. But you want to get a deal from me. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. Sure. Exactly. So it just don't make no sense. It just don't make no sense at all, because it's like, I was reading Nipsey Hussle book, and he said a valuable thing. He said, man, the Asian people, he said, instead of kicking their child out at 18, they let them stay with them for rent free so that they can save up enough money to buy their own house. So it's like, why don't we do that in the black community? It says in the black community, a black man or a black woman gets some money and they spend it within an hour. It said Mexican spends it within 2 weeks. It says a Jewish person holds that same dollar for a month. So it's like, we're quick to consume, we're quick to spend our money. So it's like, when do we take it upon ourselves to start actually building a foundation and working with each other? And I was saying that on the interview I did the last time. I said, man, what we need to start doing in these communities is take on this gang problem and these gang violence, and start teaching our children how to be one together, so when they grow up they don't hate each other, because we've always been our own worst enemy. We're always our own worst enemy. So it's like, when are we stop working against ourselves and start working for ourselves? When do we become one? Because like you said, everybody know that it's strength in numbers. And once we unite, we're gonna be a force that can't be stopped. But first, we got to start, with our babies. We got to start with the kids. Like you said, we need to teach these kids that they can be politicians, that these kids could be doctors, that these kids could be astronauts, that these kids could be, other things, professors, scientists. So these is the core principles that we need to start instilling into our youth, until our kids, until our babies, so that we can change the community. Like I say, man, the revolution starts within the household.
No, you're absolutely right. And that exposure at a young age, what for me, I remember when I moved from Sacramento to Orange County, and I was seeing kids with boats in their backyards, and these kids were talking about college, and their families had businesses and stuff. It blew me away, man. I had never met a doctor or somebody's dad who was a plastic surgeon, or somebody's dad who was a business tycoon. I mean, when you see that exposure and you look at the tools, and I always say, look at your toolbox. If your toolbox only has a wrench, a screwdriver, and a hammer, you can't really work on too much shit. But if you got a snap-on toolbox and they got all these different sockets and you got all these different resources, bro, your odds of winning is tremendously increased. And so, starting like you said in the communities, but you have to weed out the bullshit. There's a lot of people in our communities that we need to just get rid of. They garbage, man. They not gonna help the cause, and they don't care, and they don't want to see people get out of that because they love misery. So we have to, actually weed out those who don't want to move forward, and the ones who do, give them an opportunity because there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent in the hood, man. I used to see dudes, and I'm like, damn, dude, you're so talented. If you would have utilized this on the street, you'd be a millionaire. Look at what these brothers do, man, when they put behind the stuff, man. And that's the big thing is we have to collectively put together our resources with those who also have the same direction. But it's going to be far and few between, man. A brother like yourself who got a good head on his shoulders, who's in there fighting for his life, is one thing, man. But you're going to see a lot of dudes who look like you, who you assume are on your team, but dude, they don't want to see you win like you want to win. And that's the thing about other communities. I know some Armenians and Russians, bro. Like you said, there'll be 8 or 12 of them living in the same house. They'll have 2 or 3 G wagons outside, Lamborghini, Rolls Royce, and you know what? They all work together. They all have the family business. I've never seen a black household that can sustain 10 people in the same household working together with a business plan. Have you?
No, not at all. I haven't seen it. Like you said, man, it's like putting a bunch of crabs in a bucket, man. We just tear each other down. It's like we can't stand to see one of our own win. It's like, oh, he doing that. Well, I need that, or I should have that, or somewhere along the line, man, we felt that just everybody owed us something. Everybody owed us something. Like it don't matter how they got it, how hard they worked to get it. The amount of hours they put in to get it. That person owed them something. It's like why you just can't be happy for that person. Don't nobody owe you nothing. The same 24 hours that you got in a day is the same 24 hours that they got in a day. The only difference is they chose to do something with it. And a lot of people don't understand that. Even in prison, I see a lot of dudes, man. They mad, they bitter. Oh, this person owed me that. Well, why do they owe you that? Like at the end of the day, you made your own choice. You got to be held accountable for your own actions. You put yourself in that situation. So it's up to you to get yourself out that situation. Instead of crying and complaining, once you crack open the book, man, and open your mind. Like me, since I've been in prison, I've made 3 documentaries. I got the first documentary, Little State of Struggle, Young Black Men in America, which takes my life on a microcosm and show you what's going on in America on a macrocosm. Then I got Little State, Beautiful Elevation, which shares the stories of the formerly incarcerated getting out trying to do something positive for the community. Then I got this third documentary I'm going to release on Monday called Brothers Incarcerated, which shows, us behind the walls doing positive things. Since I've been in prison, I've taken it upon myself to complete numerous self-help groups. I've gotten a college degree, wrote a book, and I've also released some music. So it's like, if we could take all this negative energy and push it towards something positive, we'll be much more farther as a people, as a whole.
What message would you convey to these young men out here who are, caught up in this whole psychology that you got to have a body to have status, or you got to be a gangster to be somebody. I always, I look back and I'm like, for everything I went through, man, I said, you know what? I wish I would have been a square, bro. And I was a square for a long time until I felt like I was trying to find my identity in my teen years. But I tell guys, it's like you're not proving nothing by walking around with a gun or you know, preying on people that look like yourself. You're not. That's not proving nothing. But you actually being in there, speaking from a first person. What would you tell these youngsters, man? Because I see a lot of young men, and literally, you know, dude, it's like you're ready to take a life for nothing, man. I mean, when are we gonna like say, hey, there's something bigger than this? You know, I mean, we talk about we want to elevate. We want reparation. We want on this. We want reparation. We can't even get it together when you see somebody in another neighborhood that's just trying to buy a burger.
Exactly. No, what I would tell the youth is, man, it's realer than rap. Life is realer than a movie. All them things you hear is not real. When you come to prison, everybody that you thought was gonna be there for you, the homies, they not gonna answer your phone call. They not gonna press 5. That female that that loves you because of the status that you had, she probably gonna be, having sex with your best friend. The only people that's really gonna be suffering is you and your family, your mama, your brother, your sister. The people that you probably really wasn't even paying attention to when you was on the streets. The police, they gonna be oppressing you. You gonna have to be told what to do all day, when to shower, when to eat, when to leave your cell. Oh, and if you was on the streets and you didn't want to go to school in prison, they gonna make you go to school. You didn't want to work on the streets in the prison, they gonna make you work for free. And the same dudes, that cause your friends, they gonna be ones trying to backdoor you. They gonna be ones telling your women, oh, he ain't coming home. Oh, man, that dude got a lot of time. I don't know why you talking to him. And then the whole time when you call them, they gonna be smiling in your face. As soon as you ask them for something, that's when they gonna stop answering the phone. You're gonna have to wash, your laundry in the sink. When you brush your teeth, you're gonna have to spit in the toilet. It's common courtesy. So this really ain't a life you really want to live. This is the flip side to the coin that they ain't telling you. And also
Yeah,
you go to to visit your family. When you come back, you're gonna have to be stripped asshole naked in front of another man, bend over, squat, and cough, and see your ass. So this is not a place you really want to go.
yeah. And that's if you get a visit. See, I did my time, and when I was in the feds, I didn't get not one visit. I don't even know what visiting hall looked like. I never been in there. I never had a vending machine, burger or soda pop out of there. I used to just live vicariously through other homies that I knew that went to visiting, and hear stories. But like you said, you assuming somebody gonna come visit you, you might not get no visits. you know, it might not. It might be somewhere way out where somebody can't get there. A lot of times people are dealing with their own problems on the street, and so you're expecting them to come out there and visit, but they put these prisons in these places that's way out in the middle of nowhere, and it's an inconvenience for a lot of people, man. So
Exactly.
there's a lot that they glorified, and you hear the rappers, oh man, Rico and this and that, and they oh man, I rolled down on my ops and all this shit, man. That shit, man, to me, man, I stopped listening to it, man. It's garbage, bro. And I used to be, I was in juvenile hall when NWA came out, and I remember how pumped up everybody was, and it was gangbanging was going on tough in the 80s. This was like 80, 88. And I look back now in retrospect, man, I'm like, dude, they propaganda us, man, into some bullshit, bro, and we still trying to recover from this shit.
Exactly. That we are. It's like they said, man. That really the devil created music. It puts you in a trance. It puts your mind in a certain place, and people don't know that. They think they just listen to music, but it's really instilling a message in your mind. So you really got to be careful what you feed your mind. And people are not too aware of that. That's like if you wake up and you notice if you play rap music, you're gonna be hyped up. But if you wake up and you play some R&B, you're gonna be like in a player mode. You're gonna feel good. You're gonna have a good vibe. But once you put that rap music on, you're gonna be hyped up. You're gonna be ready to do something. And I know a lot of people don't understand that, man. What they let their kids listen to is gonna influence them in the future. Because in a way, that's what you want to be like.
Did you find a mentor or somebody who kind of put you on a righteous path? I mean, for myself, it wasn't until I got to the feds that I found two individuals who really kind of gave me the blueprint on how to be a man. Is there somebody in particular that influenced you on your path?
Well, it was about 3 books, that really opened up my mind. But I met this OG named Steel Bill. He had been down about 36 years. So
Damn.
I had came out the hole, and fortunately I was placed in a cell with him. So we was having a conversation one day. He said, "Look, youngster, you been in jail since you was 14." He said, "Man, they gonna let you go." He said, "But man, you need to take this time to get your mind right. You need to take a couple of these self-help groups and really, know yourself. Get you a girl and just, do your time." So then as I started taking these classes and, reflecting back on what he told me, everything started coming to a head. Then I started making, more inventories of the things I did wrong or the people I did wrong and trying to heal them connections and started to grow as a person. And then, he also inspired me to graduate college, because he told me, he said, youngster, education is going to be very important. He said, man, if you get that, he said, man, they going to let you out. He said, so man, just go ahead and get that education. And I never forgot that. And I went ahead and got my AA degree.
That's good, man. I mean, um, I think it's almost now to where that family structure where you have that uncle or that grandfather, if you don't have a father and you're around you, is one of the biggest voids in the life of young men. And I'm jealous, man, when I see, you know, families that have the grandpa, the dad, the uncles, and the auntie, everybody there, because it's like you're getting game from everybody. Everybody's lacing you up. Everybody's giving you some type of um, pearls of wisdom. And you know, if you don't get it from the home, you're going to look for it in the streets. And unfortunately, a lot of times, what you find in the streets is not what you want to take with you on your journey. So a lot of life lessons, man. Shit, being down like you said since you were 14, man. Fuck, that's crazy, bro. I mean, I first got locked up when I was 15, and I was very angry and just frustrated, man. I didn't know. You're trying to find direction in life. You're trying to figure out who you are, and man, it's just as a young man, especially not having that strong, just like I said, that strong role model, man. It just makes such a big difference. Um, are there any like things in particular that you look at now that, given the opportunity to share with like um, young men out there looking to kind of break away from the streets and do something positive? What would you share with these guys? What would you do to as far as maybe words of wisdom tell them? Because like I get a lot of young men from around the world that are going through it, man. There's a lot of there's really a war out here right now on masculinity, and there's a war to feminize black men in particular. You got men out here wearing dresses, bro, hip hop artists, acting like women, males. Dude, it's bad. It's
Man,
bad,
I
bro.
know,
And if you say
I know.
something,
I've been seeing it. I've been seeing it, man. And I just don't understand it, man. Dudes painting their fingernails and wearing these tight jeans that look like it should be their women's. But on a real note, though, to the youth, to get away from the lifestyle, I would say, there's really nothing wrong with getting a job. Because I remember, we used to be on the block or we used to be on the streets and we'd see the Mexicans come and selling their little corn on their cart and we'd make fun of them. But in all actuality, they was doing an honest hustle. They was actually breeding themselves to build their own business. So I would say, don't look down upon that. Find a way to create your own business. That them lemon juice stands you seen where the kids was selling lemon juice. They was being taught entrepreneurial skills. How to sell things and work for their money. So I would say, don't shun away from the job. Forget what the homies say. Forget how the homies look at you, because they might be winning right now, living a fast life. But in the end, when it catch up with them, and you putting in this honest work, you gonna pass them up. You gonna be the one with the house. You gonna be the one with the car. They gonna be the one in jail. They gonna be the one calling you, asking you for money. So I would say, man, don't be afraid, man, to embrace your own destiny, to embrace your own purpose, to be who you want to be, to, at the same time, to stand firm in who you are. And, like I say, you always gotta put yourself as in a leadership role. You gotta carve your own path. You can't let nobody determine your future or control your future, because at the end of the day, when you grow up and you all by yourself, you was all you gonna have. The friends that you thought was gonna be there for you, the dudes that was in the cool crowd, them gonna be the same dudes on the yard talking about, man, they sold me a dream, man. They told me a lie, man. The hood ain't did nothing for me. Man, I wish I would have never did that. So I would say, man, don't be afraid to work, and don't be afraid to be who you are and embrace your destiny. And also, always listen to good advice, and watch who you listen to.
What is one of the deepest conversations you had with somebody who's been down for a long time and got out? Have you seen anybody who's been down for, like, say, a significant amount of time get out and achieve a high level of success that you were able to stay in touch with? Or have you seen anybody that talked the talk, like, while they were in there and actually followed up? Or have you seen more people who kind of like talk it, but when they get out, they don't follow through?
Well, I seen both of them. My boy, he did almost 20 years. He got his own business, just published his book. He's touring, he's traveling. Matter of fact, on YouTube and on Instagram, his page is called How to Battle. Did almost 20 years. He's out there doing positive things. He's giving speeches in auditoriums, and he's really living out the things that he said. But I've also seen people that talk a good one, and 45, 60 days later, they back in jail fighting another case. But my boy that was successful, that's touring the country and things like that, and he got his own podcast and YouTube and published his own book. He told me, he said, man, when you get out here, just, take it slow, march to your own drum beat, and just stay focused. Don't feel like that you need to catch up. He said, man, just take it slow and stay focused. And he said, man, you're already in there putting the work, so when you get out here, it's gonna be much more easier if you just stay focused.
Yeah. It's definitely when you're out here, there's a lot of distractions, but if like you said, stay focused and have your game plan and stick to that game plan, I think I know your opportunities for success are a lot higher. I feel that a lot of the excuses or mental roadblocks that people face are things that they created in their own mind, because literally you can create your own reality once you're given the opportunity. Like, you're in there right now, um, focused on getting back into society, doing things that's gonna allow you to transition. So you're preparing yourself, man. And like you said, everybody has the same 24 hours wherever you're at. It's what you do at that time which makes the difference. Um, are there any books that you read that you feel like were life changing while you're in there, that you would recommend to, like, people on the street looking to try to find some type of enlightenment?
Yes, the first one would be Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. Inspirational story, how a man, did 27 years in prison as a political prisoner and came out to be president of his own country. Then another book I would say would be George Jackson's Soledad Brothers. A brother that was sentenced to 1 year to life, came behind the walls, got very politicized, was organizing his people and fighting against oppression, which unfortunately cost him his life. Another one would be Blue Ridge Black Redemption by Stanley Tookie Williams. Very inspirational, because it showed that, he co-founded or created an organization that was causing so much chaos, and in the midst of it, he didn't realize it. But then when he realized it, he tried to find a way to bring some type of healing to the community, and try to use his influence in a good way. And that's where you get the Black Redemption, when he tried to redeem his own soul and push a positive message out there to the community, so much as to where Winnie Mandela, Nelson Mandela's wife, came to visit him, and they even tried to give him a Nobel Peace Prize. So then would be, three very inspirational books that opened up my mind. And last but not least, like I say, Malcolm X, a murderer. He was everything under the sun. But when he went to prison and he actually took the time to study and educate himself, it showed him how much power that he actually had, what he was capable of, and he changed millions of lives of people, and he's still changing people's lives. And in prison today, they still talk about Malcolm X, and his book is still being passed around.
Yeah. Malcolm, I read a lot of his stuff. Stokely Carmichael. Um, what's the I read the book.
Oh,
A
Huey
good
P.
one
Newton.
was what's the brother man, the boxer.
Oh, you talking about
Not Huey P. But what's the
they got a
Hurricane?
movie, Hurricane Carter. They got a movie on them.
Yeah, man, that book. That was a great book right there.
Yeah, that one was awesome. That one was awesome.
Yeah.
But even
So
if you read
what's a typical day for you? Like
say it again.
I said, what is a typical day for you in there right now?
Right now, I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning in the kitchen. Get off work, I go to the yard. I work out. I come back in. I do my laundry in the shower. Then I shower. If I got some self-help programs, I go to my self-help programs. Right now, it's the holy month of Ramadan, so I'm fasting. So I go to my Ramadan services at 5 o'clock every night. Uh, Read a jewel out of the Quran. Uh, Come back, break my fast, be sleep at about 8:30, 9 o'clock. Wake up, do it all over again. Yeah, that's like a typical day in prison. A typical day. Uh, some
Okay.
days it might not be no program, so I might be in a cell all day. Might have to create my own program, workout, wash my laundry in the sink, bird bath, watch a few TV channels, and do some reading and some studying, and talk to my family members and loved ones.
And how is it like? For a lot of people, they don't know, like, they're out here and they're talking about, oh man, it's you know this is bias or racist. I mean, what is life like in there for, as far as the different races? I mean, in the feds, in the law library, you can maybe have a conversation with somebody like a Mexican guy if you're helping with some legal work, or a white guy. I mean, is it very political in there? Is there a lot of racism in there? A lot of separation? I mean, what's the vibe in there?
Well, see, I'm on a level 4, so it's very political. Like even at work when I go in the kitchen, it's a black side that we cook on, and it's a Mexican side that they cook on. On the yard, it's a black workout area, and it's a Mexican workout area. It's a black day room, and it's a Mexican side of the day room. It's black showers, then it's Mexican showers. So everything is very segregated, very segregated. It's kind of like you living in the 1960s in 2020.
Mm, yeah, that's something, people out here, they talk about stuff they have no idea. Not like how it is in prison. I mean, there's a lot, and it's serious, man. I mean, somebody that could potentially be your friend, you can't really talk to them. I knew a lot of dudes. It's like, hey, man, Big Herc, you're a cool dude, but dude, I can't really kick it with you up in here because of, how it is. And I'm like, I already understand. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. That's exactly how it is.
what
You might.
what's that?
I said you might sit at a table, with a Mexican or something. And y'all cool, but he can't use your seasoning, or if you set some sugar packs down, he can't touch your sugar packs. So yeah, it's very racial. Even though you might be like you say a stick of thieves with somebody, it's always that line that cannot be crossed.
Yeah, it's sad too because that's all by design, and it's crazy because, like, my celly for when I was in the feds for 3.5 years, I had a Mexican celly from up north, and so people used to trip out. But in the feds, it's a little bit different, and then also being originally from Northern California, it's a little different program, even though we were down south. But yeah, man, that's just an ugly thing, man. But like you said, you gotta deal with it in there and learn to navigate. Um, what do you feel is one of the most important things in prison to help a person um, get on the right track so that when they get out, they're prepared to succeed in life?
I believe the first step, man, is a person got to be willing to listen because in prison, everybody got egos, everybody got pride, and everybody feel like can't nobody tell me nothing. I know it all. So I believe the first step would be just to listen to good advice. And the next thing, surround yourself with people that's like minded and surround yourself with people that's going to programs. And, sign up for every program that you can. Try to get a higher education and just keep a positive mind frame and don't let the negativity get to you because prison is a real negative environment.
Now, do you have the opportunity um, to go back to board, or is there anything like you're waiting to pass through legislation to give you an opportunity to go back to court, or are you just waiting for your appeal to be filed?
Well, now I'm going through the resentencing phase, as I told you, but I go to board in 2 years too. So, uh, whatever one goes through, I'm gonna be good. Whether it's the resentencing or the board, I'm in a good position. I've taken all the courses to
Okay.
rehabilitate myself. Uh, Not only taking courses, but I really sat inside my cell and did some real insight and some real reflection and really dug deep into what triggered me and my family background and things of that nature to be able to be where I'm at today. So, whether I go to the board in 2 years or I go through the resentencing phase, which should be within the next 2 to 3 months, I should have an answer. Uh, I should be getting out, inshallah.
And you know, you said some things as far as like working on self, and one of the things where I tell people now, I said, man, you better learn to walk on your own now, because if you do something, you get caught up in prison, it's a lot harder to pull away and be an individual because of the environment. And I know I dealt with a lot of adverse response from how I carried my program because I didn't have time to bullshit, man. I felt like I was on a like on a I was like on a time frame in there. Like I had to get shit done, and I didn't have time to sit around and bullshit. Because my time was valuable, and I felt like